Today is Monday, and schools across UAE went online. And within hours, parents were already trying to make long term decisions. Over the weekend, parents were doing what parents do: getting devices ready, checking passwords, testing Wi Fi, finding headphones that somehow vanished into another dimension. And this morning, kids logged in, and on paper, it all looks fairly straightforward. School is continuing, the platforms are working, and the schedules are there. But I actually don't think this is really about school. It's about trying to make decisions without knowing what happens next. And that's what's making situations like this feel more tiring than they really should. Hi, I'm Hannah. I work with globally mobile families to help them understand how international school systems actually work. And what I'm noticing right now is this: parents are trying to solve what feels like a school problem, but it's often more of a timing problem because schools have moved online and the situation is being reviewed regularly. So, yes, this is a short term operational change, but families are often reacting to it with much bigger questions in the background.
Do we just ride this out? Do we rethink our plans? Should we make changes now? Or do we continue to wait?
And that's where the tension comes from, not just from an online school itself, but trying to make clean decisions in a situation that is still evolving. And that is a very different problem because a lot of parents are not just thinking about this week, they're thinking about continuity, stability, admissions, the rest of the term, possibly even next year. And those are long term decisions being made on a very short term timeline under pressure. That is why this can feel oddly disproportionate. It's not just, can my child manage online learning for a bit? It's, what does it mean for all other plans that we had? And for globally mobile families, that question lands a bit differently because when you live globally, school decisions are rarely just school decisions. They affect location, mobility, routines, future options, all of it. So, one useful shift here is this: instead of trying to make one perfect decision, let's think of it in phases. What do we need right now? And what are we optimizing for long term? Those are not always the same answer. And that's okay. For example, right now, the goal may simply be this: how do we make the next 1 to 2 weeks workable? That is a very different question from, what is the ideal long term school plan for my child? If you mix those two together, everything starts to feel so much heavier and more urgent than it really needs to be. Okay, so practically, what does this look like? First, don't try to solve the whole term this week. This week, you're just gathering information. How is your child coping? How much support do they actually need? What is really difficult? The academics, the structure, the mood, the logistics? That gives you something real to work with. Second, make this week workable. It doesn't have to be perfect. You do not need a beautiful 8 to 3 homeschool setup. You just need a day that your family can actually sustain. That might mean 2 focused school blocks in the morning, a proper break in the middle, and maybe a lighter afternoon. Simple is fine. Fine is underrated. Third, avoid locking yourself into a dramatic conclusions too early. If the first couple of days feel clunky, that doesn't automatically mean the school is wrong or the child is struggling or you need to change everything. Sometimes it just means it's day 2. And finally, keep your decisions reversible where possible. In uncertain situations, flexibility is so valuable. Try what works for now, review as you go, and adjust with more information. That is often much smarter than forcing one big right answer way too early. I'm curious how you're thinking about this. Are you treating this as a short term adjustment, or is it making you rethink bigger plans? And if you're navigating international schools as a globally mobile family, please consider subscribing. I share insights like this to help you understand how these systems actually work. Because when you live globally, education doesn't always follow a straight line.